was in love with a man who was ashamed of me. Let's unpack that. Now, I was so in love with this man. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. We were inseparable. Wherever he was, I was. Wherever I was, he was. We was on the phone all the time, talking about any and everything. I thought he was my person. I would also like to believe that there was a small part of him that thought the same thing. Now, when we were younger, we were very discreet. Nobody really knew what we had going on. People who knew, they knew, and those who didn't, they had no clue. We were never public. We never acted like we were dating. We never even talked about being boyfriend, girlfriend. I used to just think it was some little fun game we were playing. The whole time, all of that discretion was because he didn't want to be seen with me because he was embarrassed. And the way I found this out was so hurtful. One day I was walking home from school and he was outside playing basketball. One of his friends saw me and said, "Hey man, there go your girl." He looked at his friend with such rage and was like, "Stop fucking playing with me." He wasn't aware that I heard what he said. His friend was like, "Man, if you like her, it's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed." He like, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't like that girl." He was right about one thing. He didn't like me. He loved me. And he was embarrassed that he loved me. I shed a little tear as I continued to walk home. And I never told him I heard that conversation. But it was that day I understood this man is embarrassed. He doesn't want anybody to know that he likes me or that he's involved with me at all. Whenever we were alone, he would act one way. When we were in front of people we knew, he would act a totally different way. Whenever he would see other men take interest in me, particularly his friends, he would have to fight to act like he didn't care. At one point, he got involved with a girl that I knew. And this girl knew that he had something going on with me. But in order to overcompensate and pretend like he didn't, he would talk about me in such a vulgar way. How disgusting I was, how ugly I was. It was now beyond like, "Hey, I don't like her." Now it was, "She's ugly." I said, "Oh, okay." I confronted him and asked him if what he said was true. He said, "Yeah, I did say those things." After that day, I didn't talk to him anymore for years because I knew I deserved better than that, even as a friend. And anybody who loves you is not going to do that. And it was a really weird feeling to watch somebody you loved so much become a bully, more specifically a bully to you. And as I walked away from him that day, all the memories of us began to flash through my mind. Every love letter, every conversation, every kiss, every hug, every moment he walked me home. I questioned if any of it was ever real. I questioned if the version of him he showed me was even real, or if he was just faking. But some of those kisses seemed just too real to be fake. I made peace with his shame, and his pride overcompensated for his guilt. We didn't talk for years, and somehow we got back in contact, and it was like a love roller coaster all over again. We couldn't help that we loved each other, but this man, after all those years, was still ashamed of me. Maybe not as ashamed as he was before, but still ashamed nonetheless. His friends would make fun of him for liking me, would make fun of him for hanging out with me. And I know deep down inside that did something to him because he cared about what other men thought about him. More specifically, the men he wanted to admire him. He would confess and tell me all the things that his friends would say. And the irony of all this, those men who were talking about me in such a way, they wanted me. Yeah, they liked me too. But when they were talking to him, they also would act like I was ugly and disgusting to overcompensate for the fact that they were actually attracted to me. He never knew that some of his friends were in my DMs, and I never told him because I wanted to see if after all these years he had learned anything. Unfortunately, he didn't. He still hated himself. And he was still so desperately trying to impress men that wanted the same thing he was trying to pretend that he hated, even though the men that he was fronting to wanted what he wanted. Eventually, he started dating other women, and he would always go for a certain type of woman. And he was always overcompensating. I used to watch how he moved in the world and just say, that man got so much trauma. Everything he did was rooted in trauma. It was driving everything he did or did not do. And I began to think to myself, was this really love or were we just trauma bonded? I really did genuinely love him, but that couldn't have been it. We believed in each other's dreams. He supported me. I supported him. He was invested in me just as much as I was invested in him, but only privately and only when it made him look good. Eventually, I had to walk away from him again for the same reason I walked away the first time, because I had to wake up and realize that love is not accompanied with shame. Someone who loves you is not going to be ashamed of you in any capacity. And if he really loved me, he would have had some humility, and he wouldn't have allowed anybody to make him feel bad for the feelings he had for me. Baby, I ain't nobody's secret. I'm a star and I always have been. And he was a star too, which is why I liked him so much. He chose to put his fire out to blend in with logs. But he did stick with me for a long time. But it also motivated me and reminded me to never settle. I don't care how much you love somebody.
If someone loves you, they're going to tell the world. They are not going to keep you a secret. Like you said, you guys were young. Maybe he did just see it as fun. I feel like when a lot of young men like the same person, they're just going to act like they don't like them so they don't have to compete for that girl. So maybe that's the case with you. They both wanted a shot and they both knew that they didn't want a woman to come in between their friendship. It's super weird to be one way with someone in private and a different way in public. That is so fake and not a characteristic trait you want to have. I was hoping to hear that years later that he was not doing the same things, but to find out he was is mind-blowing. If you love someone, do not hide them. You should not be ashamed of them. Who cares what the world thinks? At the end of the day, if they make you happy, that's all that matters. I think people are way too caught up on what everyone else thinks around them. I'm glad she realized that she deserved way better. There's a man out there that's going to cherish you and love you the way that you deserve. I know this man is going to look back and regret it because like you said, you poured into him and he poured into you. A lot of people don't realize this, but that person that you decide to be in a relationship with or later on marry, that's the one that's going to hold you down. Not your friends that are only going to be here temporary, but somebody that sees you, that really sees you, that knows the real you. So this fake front that he's putting on in front of his friends, they don't even know the real him. And later when they realize that he is a completely different person, are they still going to be around? I think he was just trying to play the cool guy role. But as you get older, that changes. Be true to yourself. I do know when you're young you want to fit in, but at what cost? You should never have to bully someone and make someone feel less than just to be applauded by others. Messy family, have any of you ever been in a hidden relationship like this? Never let someone make you feel like a secret. You deserve to be showed off to the world.